Hi,
Mhm.
Roland. How are
Hey,
you?
how? Very good.
I'm good, thank you. And it's great to speak to you, especially as a long-time fan of your work. And couldn't help but thinking today, obviously, as a filmmaker, you've brought aliens to Earth, you've ushered in an ice age, and you've had a giant lizard rampaging through New York. But what about the moon being knocked out of orbit appealed to you as a filmmaker and made this a story you wanted to tell?
Well, I read a book called Who Built the Moon like maybe 10 years ago. And that kind of sparked like some sort of idea. Okay, so if the moon is falling on Earth and we maybe like kind of learn through that it's not what we think it is. And there was always like kind of the same, like kind of, it's the main idea. And then, you have to kind of just figure out how to kind of tell the story. And you want to have NASA involved. You want to have, like some conspiracy, theorist involved, and then these kind of the clash of that alone is like kind of fun. And then you like fly up there and hopefully stop the moon.
And I've got to say, while I'm watching the film, my jaw was just on the floor, especially on the scenes on Earth when we're seeing various cities and landmarks being destroyed. And it occurred to me while I was watching it, it feels like something of an art form to destroy a city like that. So I'm wondering for you as a filmmaker, what do you think is almost the secret ingredient to really pulling that off and making it an effective spectacle for the audience?
Well, you have to kind of just pace yourself. You have to a little bit destruction is then you like kind of heighten the destruction. And I'm also really really super proud of when the shuttle finally like gets up in the air. We have this huge wave and it's like a race against time and the kids watch, and there's a lot of things happening in this film which I think are very involving and cool. And then the flight inside the moon is like kind of one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, two phenomenal scenes you mentioned there. And talking about heading into outer space, obviously it looks amazing in this film, but we do know now that some productions in future are actually looking to go into space for real. So is that something that interests and excites you as a filmmaker, or do you think what you can do with visual effects, maybe you don't need to do that?
Well, it's like, and I mean, I'm constantly discussing with myself as a person, if I should go into space or not, if I kind of risk it. And but today you can do pretty much everything in CGI, and I have the feeling it's when you like see like Star Wars movies or any one of these movies, it looks so believable now.
Absolutely. And someone who I thought really stole the show here, I thought John Bradley, coming off Game of Thrones, did an amazing job playing a very
Yeah.
different sort of character. But I'm curious, what made him the right choice in your eyes to play someone like Casey?
It's so interesting. I had him, my first idea was to hire him. And then, the studio said, or like the American distributor said, oh, can we not find somebody else? And then after at the end, it was John Bradley. He was like just the best actor for this. And I always had like a very, very interesting and very kind of specific idea about him. He had to be a little bit more, like you had to, when you like kind of see him as in this like spacesuit, it's just like kind of makes it feel fun because he is not the slimmest. It's like he has this amazing, and he is incredibly warm. When you like kind of talk to him, he's incredibly warm, and that's like kind of amazing when you think about it.
Definitely. And finally, I was raised on films like Independence Day, Day After Tomorrow, and Godzilla. But I'm curious, what about these disaster movies do you think still resonates with people to this very day, especially as we see theaters filled up with superheroes and sci-fi? But there is something about the genre that still just attracts people.
Well, it's like kind of, I mean, it's I think with Independence Day I created my own genre. And but I try to keep every time, when I'm doing a disaster film, it has to be totally different, otherwise I'm not interested. So, I mean, like Day After Tomorrow was climate change. Then 2012 was um, you know you know, about like a flood, worldwide flood, and this one is just about, you know, the moon. And you know, I have the feeling it's like a totally different kind of film.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for your time, Roland. It's such a pleasure to speak to you as a fan.
Okay.
I cannot wait for people to see the film. It's awesome. Thank you.
Okay, cool.